Hi, Leo. Let me ask you something bold. What if this week is the moment everything begins to change for you? What if you're not here by accident, but because the universe has carefully led you to this very moment, for a reason? If that gave you goosebumps, trust that you're exactly where you're meant to be. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, your sacred space for deep, soulful horoscopes, where astrology meets intuition, self-discovery, and spiritual transformation. This is your reading for April 7th through April 13th, and I promise you, Leo, this isn't just another weekly forecast. This is a cosmic wake-up call. You, more than any other sign, understand the power of presence. And right now, the energy surrounding you is magnetic, roaring, and alive. There's something big shifting in the ether. You may have felt it in your body lately, a restlessness, a flicker of fire reigniting. You've been sensing it in synchronicities, in song lyrics that hit too close to home, in dreams that feel like messages. That's not your imagination. That's alignment. And Leo, when the universe wants to speak to you, it whispers first. And if you don't listen, it gets louder. This is that moment. A door is opening, and what waits on the other side is not just opportunity, it's destiny. And you are the one being called to walk through it. Here at Eternal Mindfulness, we don't just tell the future, we illuminate the path. This space is not about vague predictions, but about clarity, empowerment, and soul recognition. You are the author of your own story, and this reading is meant to guide, not dictate. That's the real power of astrology. It brings you back to your own inner knowing. And that's exactly what we're going to do together today. From the perspective of Buddhist philosophy, every encounter is rooted in interconnectedness. Nothing happens by chance. If you're watching this video, it means your current energy, thoughts, and intentions have magnetized this message into your life. The universe is never random, it's responsive. And you, Leo, have reached a vibration that's ready to receive. So take a deep breath. Feel that truth settle into your bones. You're not just watching, you're awakening. Before we begin, let me take a moment to say this from the heart, thank you. Every like, every comment, every subscription is not just support, it's sacred energy that expands this community and helps bring these transformative messages to others just like you. You are not alone on this journey, and your presence here matters more than you know. And trust me, my fierce and radiant Leo, you'll want to stay with me until the very last second of this video. Because what the universe is preparing to reveal isn't just beautiful, it's breathtaking. So now, tell me, what brought you here today? Was it intuition? Curiosity? A longing for clarity or confirmation? Whatever it was, leave a comment below and let me know what pulled you in. Because sometimes, the act of acknowledging our alignment is the very thing that amplifies it. Let's dive in. The shift has begun, and your light is needed now more than ever. There's something profoundly powerful about the quiet choices we make in the privacy of our minds. The moment we decide, whether consciously or unconsciously, to shift our inner dialogue, the world around us begins to echo that change. It might not be immediate, and it might not be loud, but it's there. It's like the first light of dawn touching the horizon, subtle, yet undeniable. This week, as you step into the magnetic energy of Leo, you're being invited to return to the source of all creation, your own awareness. The appearance of the magician in your reading is no coincidence. It's a nudge, a gentle awakening that reminds you of something you've always known but may have forgotten in the noise of everyday life. You are the architect of your experience. Not in the grandiose sense of forcing the world to bend to your will, but in the soft, grounded truth that what you nurture in thought becomes what you nourish in reality. The magician doesn't chase power, it aligns with it. That is your work now, not to control, but to align. Our thoughts are seeds. Some bloom into beauty, while others tangle into weeds. And often, we don't realize we're watering them daily with worry, self-doubt, or assumptions about what's possible. But just as a field changes when we change the way we tend to it, your inner garden, the landscape of your mind, responds to intention. When you shift your attention toward what's blooming instead of what's broken, you're not ignoring reality, you're reorienting yourself toward possibility. There's a quiet wisdom in choosing stillness over reactivity. A deep strength in choosing clarity over chaos. In ancient philosophy, there's a teaching that what we repeatedly contemplate becomes the shape of our world. This isn't about mystical manifestation, it's about noticing. When you begin to see your thoughts as invitations rather than commands, you stop identifying with every fear that rises. You become the observer, the listener, the steady flame behind the flickering thoughts. This week, Leo, you are invited to become intimate with your mental habits, not to judge them, but to notice which ones feel like home and which ones feel like old furniture you've outgrown. Pay attention to where your energy flows the moment you wake up. Is it toward a problem, a regret, a rush of to-dos? Or can you pause, even briefly, to plant something different, like gratitude, or curiosity, or gentleness? Something beautiful happens when you begin your day with the awareness that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who chooses which thoughts to keep alive. That morning practice, whether it's journaling 3 things you're grateful for, or softly repeating an affirmation like, I am light. I attract what is aligned with my highest good, is more than a ritual. It's a way of reclaiming authorship. A way of remembering that each new day is a blank canvas, and you, Leo, have the courage and creativity to decide how it unfolds. This is not about toxic positivity. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about recognizing that even in uncertainty, you have the power to choose your lens. And that simple shift, however small, can move mountains over time. When the mind is steady, the heart listens more clearly. And when the heart listens, your life begins to reflect what truly matters. So as the week unfolds, come back to your center. Come back to the fire of your consciousness. You don't need to chase light, you are the light. Let this remembering carry you forward, one breath, one thought, one sacred choice at a time. Sometimes, the line between dreaming and becoming is only a single breath, the breath you take before stepping into the unknown. After grounding yourself in the awareness of your thoughts, as we explored earlier, there comes a moment when the inner flame is ready to rise. Not in chaos. Not in ego. But in clarity. That fire within you, Leo, has been patiently waiting for its cue, not from the outside world, but from your own decision to move. When the Knight of Wands shows up in your space, it doesn't come quietly. This is not the energy of hesitation, of double-checking, or of waiting for perfect timing. This is the pulse of instinct, the rhythm of forward motion, the courage to respond to life instead of retreating from it. It doesn't ask for approval. It asks for alignment. And when your inner spark is aligned with your truth, there is nothing more natural than acting from that place. No need for fanfare. Just presence and momentum. There's a deep and beautiful truth that action is not always about big, dramatic gestures. It's not about leaping off cliffs or making grand declarations. Often, it's the quiet commitment to no longer delay. It's choosing to send the email, have the hard conversation, or finally put words to the vision you've been carrying in silence. In practices of mindful living, it's understood that even the smallest motion, if done with full awareness, can transform the course of your day, even your life. What matters most is not what you do, but how you choose to meet the moment. This week, life may place a subtle opportunity in front of you. It may not be wrapped in shining lights or perfect timing. It might show up as an unexpected invitation, a shift in conversation, or a window that opens just slightly, and then begins to close. In those moments, your willingness to respond is everything. It's not about being impulsive. It's about being awake enough to say, "This matters. I'm ready." Fear, of course, will try to pull you back. It will whisper that you're not prepared, that something might go wrong, that someone else is better suited. But you know what's stronger than fear? Devotion. Devotion to your vision, your values, your deeper self. In the teachings of timeless wisdom, it is said that a single step taken with sincere intention has more power than 1,000 plans made in hesitation. Action, when it flows from clarity, is a form of liberation. So ask yourself gently, what have you been postponing? Not because you couldn't do it, but because part of you was waiting for permission. The truth is, you are the one you've been waiting for. The gatekeeper, the decision maker, the one who says, "Now is enough. I don't need to be perfect, I just need to begin." When you write down your goals this week, don't do it like a checklist. Write them like seeds you're planting. Let your actions be the water. And if a goal feels too big or too far, break it down. Bring it close. One simple movement each day. One choice that feels aligned. That's how fires grow, quietly at first, and then all at once. Remember, Leo, your energy influences more than just your own journey. When you act from courage, you invite others to do the same. You become a mirror, a permission slip, a source of light in motion. And that, more than anything, is your gift this week. So don't wait for the right time. You're the one who makes it right. Not everything meaningful can be measured or proven. Some moments are simply felt, like a subtle shift in the air, a tug in the chest, or a deep, unspoken knowing that you are exactly where you're meant to be. After taking bold steps aligned with intention, the energy begins to move, and when it moves, it reveals. This week, Leo, that movement is especially potent. You're stepping into a space where what once felt distant or unclear now starts to take form, not because things have changed outside of you, but because you've shifted your own frequency enough to meet them. Destiny often doesn't come with loud announcements or grand signs. Instead, it tends to whisper, through chance encounters, recurring symbols, or words that seem to echo louder than they should. You might find yourself thinking of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and suddenly they reach out. Or a message appears at just the right moment, delivering exactly what your heart needed to hear. These aren't coincidences, they are patterns revealing themselves to the attentive. From a deeper perspective, this is the nature of alignment. When the mind quiets and the heart becomes receptive, clarity rises. In the teachings of timeless awareness, it is understood that cause and effect are never disconnected. The energy you carry today is the echo of choices you've made, seen or unseen, conscious or not. And the path you're on now isn't about seeking something outside, but recognizing the threads that have always been guiding you toward yourself. This is why you may notice more synchronicities this week, repeating numbers, meaningful dreams, or phrases that seem to follow you. The appearance of numbers like 555, 888, or 111 isn't magic, it's memory. It's your inner wisdom using symbols to get your attention. 555 calls you to embrace change rather than fear it. 888 reminds you of the flow of abundance, especially when you release control and trust your steps. And 111 is a quiet affirmation that your thoughts are powerful enough to shape what comes next. You are, in every way, a magnet right now. The magician may have sparked that realization, but it's in this phase of your journey where it becomes tangible. You begin to witness your outer reality start to respond differently, not because something outside has shifted, but because you're finally seeing yourself as worthy of what you've been seeking. That recognition, that internal acceptance, is what amplifies your magnetic energy. And it's why what shows up now may feel faded, yet earned. Take a moment to consider what's beginning to show signs of arrival. Is it a new opportunity? A renewed relationship? A creative spark that feels too alive to ignore? Whatever it is, let yourself receive it without resistance. You don't need to explain your blessings, only to allow them. There is great strength in trusting that what finds you is a reflection of who you are becoming. Color, too, plays a quiet role in this season of emergence. The shade of vibrant orange surrounds your aura now, a hue of expression, boldness, and deep personal radiance. It's not just about standing out, but about showing up fully. Let this color remind you that your voice matters, your truth belongs, and your creativity is part of your purpose. As you move through the rest of this week, watch not just what happens, but how it makes you feel. Sometimes, the most powerful affirmations aren't said out loud, they're felt in the gut, in the skin, in the way your breath steadies in moments of recognition. That feeling? That's destiny brushing against your shoulder, reminding you it hasn't forgotten your name. What you release makes room for what is real. After the spark of awareness and the call to action, after recognizing the subtle hand of fate guiding your steps, there comes a sacred pause, a threshold moment. Not one of stillness in the sense of inactivity, but a stillness that asks something more profound. Can you let go of what no longer belongs to you? Not with resentment or regret, but with a quiet kind of reverence for what has served its purpose. This isn't about forgetting. It's about allowing what's no longer alive in your energy to rest. The appearance of the Death card doesn't speak of endings in the way we often fear. It speaks of release, renewal, and space. In cycles of nature, nothing truly ends, it transforms. A leaf doesn't fall from the tree because it failed to flourish, it falls because the season has changed. In the same way, you're invited now to honor what's been, while preparing your spirit for what's next. When we hold on, whether to an old story, a worn-out belief, or a relationship that no longer mirrors who we are, we create friction within. It's like trying to breathe deeply with your lungs already full. That tension, subtle as it may be, shows up in many ways: hesitation, fatigue, confusion, or the sense that something is off without being able to name it. Often, what we call being stuck is actually the weight of the unspoken, what we haven't yet let ourselves release. In the teachings of mindful awareness, there's a practice of observing impermanence, not as a loss, but as truth. Everything changes. And within that change is an opportunity not to control, but to align. To step out of the illusion that what once worked must always work, or that who you were must always define who you will be. Real freedom lies in recognizing that you are not obligated to carry every version of yourself forward. So perhaps now is the time to get honest, not in a harsh way, but in a loving one. Ask yourself gently, what am I holding onto because I'm afraid of the space that letting go might leave behind? And then look closer. Could that very space be where something greater is meant to arrive? A beautiful exercise this week is to write a letter to your former self. Not to scold or shame, but to thank. Thank the parts of you that once believed survival meant shrinking. Thank the roles you played to protect your heart. Thank the effort, the innocence, even the mistakes. And then, when you're ready, offer that version of you a kind farewell. If it feels right, you can release the letter in some symbolic way, burning it, burying it, or simply letting it go. This kind of release work is not about cutting ties with anger. It's about softening the grip so your hands are open to receive. Because when your energy is no longer entangled in the past, it becomes more available to the present. And that's where life actually happens, in the quiet unfolding of now. As Leo, your nature is bold, loyal, and fierce in your commitments. But even loyalty must be balanced with discernment. Not everything or everyone that has walked beside you is meant to go further. Your light deserves to shine in spaces that see it, support it, and return it. So this week, allow yourself the grace to let go of habits, attachments, identities, or expectations that no longer reflect your truth. In doing so, you don't lose anything. You simply clear the path for what's meant to find you. And maybe, just maybe, what's coming is far greater than anything you thought you had to hold on to. There are moments when clarity escapes us, when even the most certain paths feel shrouded in fog. After release, after surrendering what no longer belongs, the heart often finds itself in unfamiliar space, quiet, raw, and open. It's in this space that something ancient rises, the invitation to trust what cannot yet be seen. This isn't blind hope, nor passive waiting. It's a grounded, living faith, an inner alignment that knows even in uncertainty, your next step matters. When the Hierophant appears in your chart this week, it speaks less about tradition and more about guidance. Not from outside authorities, but from the wisdom you've been cultivating within. This is the voice that reminds you to keep going, not because you have all the answers, but because something inside knows you are meant to move forward anyway. Faith, after all, is not the absence of doubt, it is the quiet strength to walk beside it. In contemplative practices across generations, there's a powerful teaching that says the seed does not question the soil. It simply leans into the darkness and trusts that with time, warmth, and consistency, it will rise. You are no different. Right now, the conditions for your growth may not look perfect. You might feel unsure, vulnerable, even a little lost. And still, something in you continues to reach. That reaching is not weakness, it's resilience. And resilience guided by devotion becomes transformation. When the flame of faith is tended daily, even in the smallest ways, it becomes a steady light. That's why this week invites simple practices that re-anchor you to your center. Sitting in stillness, even for 5 quiet minutes each morning, is not just an act of calm, it's a declaration. A reminder to your own nervous system that you are here, you are present, and you are capable of meeting whatever this day brings. Visualizing a warm golden light radiating from your heart is not about magic, it's about embodiment. You are training your body and mind to remember that safety begins within. Belonging also plays an important role. When you're surrounded by voices that echo your fear, it's easy to forget your strength. But when you share space, physical or digital, with those committed to growth, learning, and healing, your own belief begins to expand. Community is a mirror. Sometimes, it reflects back what you're afraid to see in yourself: potential, power, and the right to start again. And Leo, let's not forget who you are. You were born to radiate. Not in a way that demands attention, but in a way that naturally uplifts everyone around you. Your light doesn't disappear when you're in the dark, it becomes more visible. That's what makes this moment sacred. It's not about always knowing where you're going, it's about choosing to believe that your journey is unfolding for a reason, even when you can't see the map. So as this week unfolds, return to that quiet place within you. Breathe into the not knowing. Trust the process you've already begun. Remind yourself that faith is not a guarantee of outcome, it's a deep trust in your ability to respond, to adapt, and to grow. Every step taken in trust becomes a path. And every day you return to your center, you strengthen that path not just for yourself, but for those walking beside you. If there's a whisper in your heart right now, a dream you've been afraid to name, a possibility you're scared to believe in, let this be your moment. Not to prove it. Not to chase it. But simply to say, I believe it's possible. Sometimes, that's all it takes to begin. And here we are, dear Leo, standing at the end of this journey together, but perhaps more accurately, standing at the beginning of a deeper one. You've listened, you've reflected, and now the invitation is clear, not to simply know, but to live what you've felt. Everything we've uncovered this week, about your thoughts, your actions, your alignment with destiny, your capacity to release, and your unshakable faith, it all leads to one quiet but powerful truth: you are the author of your own life. No one can decide your light. No algorithm, no circumstance, no opinion can shape your worth unless you allow it. And that's the gift of awareness. Once you've seen the truth of your own potential, you can't unsee it. So the question becomes, what will you do with it? Will you return to the old rhythms out of habit, or will you step forward, even if it's just one small action, toward the life that's been calling you? You don't need permission to begin again. You don't need the perfect plan or ideal conditions. What you need is already inside you: the courage to trust your timing, the clarity to listen to your inner voice, and the willingness to take one brave step toward alignment. And that step doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes, the most powerful transformations begin with a whisper, I'm ready. So let me ask you gently, what part of this message stirred something in you? Was it the reminder that you are magnetic? That you can release what no longer fits? That even in uncertainty, your faith can light the way? If something here resonated with you, I want to invite you to take that resonance and turn it into something real. It could be as simple as journaling your next intention. Saying no to what drains you. Saying yes to what lights you up. Or maybe, simply sitting in silence and allowing yourself to feel what's ready to emerge. And if you're wondering where to start by choosing to believe that this moment, right now, is enough. That you don't need to be more, achieve more, or prove more to be worthy of change. Your presence is your power. Your awareness is the beginning. You already hold the keys. I want to take a moment to thank you, truly, for spending your time and energy here with me. Every like, every comment, every time you hit that subscribe button, it's not just engagement, it's energy. It's a shared intention to grow, to heal, and to rise together. Your support fuels this space, this community, and it allows messages like this one to reach the people who need them most. And Leo, my radiant, courageous, unstoppable Leo, if this message touched your heart, even in the smallest way, let me know. Drop a yellow heart in the comments if you're choosing to step into your power this week. Or tell me, what part of this reading felt like it was written just for you? Your voice matters here. Your experience belongs. Don't forget to like this video if it helped you see something new in yourself, and subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness to keep walking this path with us. Every week, we're here, together, reminding each other that transformation doesn't happen to us, it happens through us. You don't need to wait for a sign, because maybe, this was your sign. Choose the life you want. Start where you are. Begin again, beautifully.